And
I
the
don't know.
next day, he's up against our friend John Micklethwaite.
Yeah.
And my God. Now, Thwaite, as I've known him, I was in college with him. So we were in the same Magdalen together. He's a lovely, lovely man and super smart in a very aristocratic, kind of understated kind of way. And he, I think, did as best as he could. But, you know, you say to him tariffs and you point out what everyone thinks about it, what every economist will tell you, and he just says you're wrong. You've always been wrong.
You've been wrong about everything.
You've been wrong about everything your entire life, John Micklethwaite. I'm going to remind him that next time I see him.
It was nice. It was nice, though, to see Micklethwaite really sort of defenestrating him from a totally sort of reasoned point of view.
Yes.
And I thought that was very, very good, even if it had absolutely nil effect on Trump's sort of psyche.
Why do the British interview people better? I mean, you think of someone like Andrew Neil.
They're far more. Andrew Neil. I think he's amazing. I mean, they're much more combative. I mean, I think that the toughest American interview is still a softball compared to what we were used to in the days of Jeremy Paxman and all of these David Frost. I mean, I think about this great tradition of and people put themselves through it, and you kind of wonder why on earth would they go on these shows, you know? But they did. And it was robust and it was great. And I do think that Prime Minister's Question Time has been a really wonderful shaping for politicians because, you know, what prime ministers have to go through sort of like every Tuesday, or is it Wednesday, is so good for them. You know, I mean, you cannot imagine a Joe Biden who didn't even give any press conferences really and who hardly has had to answer a question in the entire presidency, having every week to get up there and have all of these people coming at him and having to be sharp on his feet. I mean, I have a point. I think it's incredibly good. I think it's a wonderful democracy.
It used to be twice
tool.
a week, if you recall.
Yes.
And they didn't used to be prepped in advance. I mean, now they have all the questions in advance, so they prepare specific answers for everything. But no.
I know. And you remember Mrs. Thatcher with the right honourable member, she would say, wouldn't she? And she had this, it was like complete sort of with her huge handbag, and it was just no.
It was so good. Bellowing. The thing about the parliament is that also is unlike the Congress, is that you are literally facing one another. So you have this, not only are you dealing with a particularly nasty-ass smart guy at the front who's piercing you with arguments, you have a baying mob behind him. It is literally a baying partisan mob designed to make you look awful. And you know, my favorite moment in recent was Corbyn, actually, when he said he was going through this thing, and I go around Europe talking to very many leaders, and they all say one thing to me. And a Tory, at that moment, there was a pause, a Tory went, "Who are you?" End of. Just finished.
End of. Yes.
Finished. There's no way around that. And of course, we were all trained to do this at Oxford. I mean, this is what we were supposed to do. And
I suppose that's what it is.
Some of it is a little, I don't know, a little public schooly and a little frivolous. On the other hand, it brings these politicians down to earth.
It totally does. I mean, I remember reading that, you know, Tony Blair said he literally sort of threw up every morning before Prime Minister's questions. He just dreaded it with all his heart and soul. And that's so good for keeping you mortal.
It is. And the media itself gained credibility in Britain by being really tough to both sides. Right? Yeah. They didn't pull their punches with either party. And I think that also helps keep everybody, because then you think your role is not, as we feel now, many of these reporters, to present a particular point of view, but to actually be genuinely skeptical of everyone.
No, I mean, it's a fantastic tradition. I don't think we're going to get it here now. In fact, I think, you know, it's gone completely in the other direction. I mean, now it really is. I don't think politicians will even go on news shows in the next cycle. I mean, I think it's all about, you know, the friendly podcast, the entertainment show, the absolutely sort of the social media spin whole thing. I just don't see any politician soon thinking it's at all worth their while, you know, to put themselves in front of a news journalist.
Which is how you get these two bubbles that aren't actually interacting. So you get this mutual misunderstanding and bafflement.